So let us begin from where we had stopped yesterday. It was late in December. Darkness was already descending over the forest. This increased the danger and increased also his gloom and despair. There was danger in the forest because it was getting dark and he was getting into despair. He was getting disappointed, frustrated. Finally, he saw no way and he sank down on the ground, tried, tired to death. He was so tired as if he was about to die, thinking that last moment had come. He was so tired, exhausted that he felt that his last moment had come. But just as he laid his head on the ground, he heard a sound, a hard, regular thumping. That was the kind of a sound that he heard. There was no doubt as to what that was. He raised himself. Those strokes from an iron mill, he thought. There must be nearby. And as that was possible, that people must be there, he thought that he might get some support. He summoned all his strength. Otherwise, he was so tired that he was almost to death. But he called all his strength, gathered all his strength, got up, and staggered in the direction of the sound. Staggered means walk. The Ramsjo Iron Works closed down, where not so long ago a large plant with smelter, rolling mill, and forge. Now the Ramsjo are not working at present, but when they were working at that time, there was a smelter there, rolling mill was there, and a forge was there. In the summertime, long lines of heavily loaded barges and scows slid down the canal, which led a large island, which led to a lake. And in the winter time, the roads near the mill were black from all the coal dust, which charcoal crates. Now, when this Ramsjo iron work was working at that time, it was a long line of canal through the canal the finished product. And on the road, say for the raw material and the fuel required, say they used the coal, and the roads had turned black because of the charcoal, the dust that came from the charcoal crates. During one of the long dark evenings just before Christmas, the master smith and his helper sat in the dark forge near the furnace waiting for the pig iron, which had been put in the fire to be ready to put on the anvil. Every now and then, one of them got up to steer the glowing mass with a long iron bar, returning in a few moments. Perspiration, though, as was the custom, he wore nothing but a long shirt and a pair of wooden shoes. All the time there were many sounds to be heard in the forge. The big bellows groaned and the burning coal cracked. Now this is the how the steel was being made. Boy shoveled charcoal into the maw of the furnace with a great deal of clatter. He made a lot of sound while putting the charcoal in the furnace. Outside roared the waterfall, and a sharp north wind whipped the rain against the brick tiled roof. Now, this is the situation that he confronted. During one of the long dark evenings just before Christmas, the master smith and his helper sat in the dark for near the furnace waiting for the pig iron to get ready, the raw iron, which had been put into the fire to be ready to put on the anvil so that it would get some proper shape. Every now and then, what it so that the pig iron would get ready. Now, it was probably on account of all this noise that the blacksmith did not notice that the man opened the gate. And now by that time, that stranger got into the Joe iron steel work, and he stood there. This is what was going on over there. And the worker over there did not say notice him coming because there was such a lot of noise over there. It was probably on account of all this noise that the blacksmith did not notice that a man had opened the gate and entered the forge until he stood before the furnace. Surely it was nothing unusual for poor vagabonds without any better shelter for the night to be attracted to the forge by the glow of night which escaped through the sooty panes, and to come in to warm themselves in front of the furnace, in front of the fire. Now it was natural that these vagabonds, the wanderers, if they in the winter, if they don't find any good shelter, then this place was attractive to them. There was no wonder in that. It was on account of all the noise. Sorry for poor vagabonds. So it was usual that these poor vagabonds, as they did not have proper shelter at night, they would get attracted to a forest because there they would be able to get some warmth because of the fire that was going on. The blacksmiths glanced only casually and indifferently. Say the blacksmith just glanced at him casually and indifferently as if he has nothing to do with him. He looked the way people of his type usually did, with a long beard, dirty, ragged, and with a bunch of red traps. Now, this was the appearance of the or the come. He permission to stay, and the master blacksmith nodded a hefty consent. Not in a very gentle way, but in a hefty way, he said, "Yes, fine." Without honoring him with a single word. He didn't say yes, also, he just nodded and said, "Fine." The tramp did not say anything either. He did not come there to talk, but only to warm himself and sleep. So there was no conversation between them. In those days, Mill was whose greatest ambition was to ship out good iron to the market. At that time, say it was under the ownership of a person whose ambition was to say ship out or export say good iron to the market. He watched both night and day to see that the work was done as well as possible, and at this very moment he came into the forge in one of his nightly rounds of inspection. Now, as the owner was very cautious about the quality of the iron that they produced and sent in the market, here also he came for his inspection. What was going on properly. The first thing he saw was the tall ragamuffin who had eased his way so close to the furnace that steam rose from his wet rags. Now, the first thing that he noticed was this intruder. His height was much, and ragamuffin means he was covered with the things that were wet, and from the rags, say, because the fire was so close, he was very close to the furnace. Say, steam was wet clothes. The iron master did not follow the example of the blacksmiths, who had hardly designed to look at the stranger. Now, the iron master was not like the blacksmiths. He did not follow them. The blacksmith had not even looked at the stranger. But what he did is, he walked close up to him, looked him over with very carefully, then tore off his slouch hat to get a better view of his face. He had a close view of this man. But of course, it is you, Nils Olof, he said. How you do look. Now, the stranger. That's what he felt. He thought that this stranger or intruder, Nils Olof, the man with the red, never before seen the iron master at Ramsjo and did not even know what his name was. Now here he was put into a situation where he could not say anything because say he had never seen that Iron Master. He didn't know him. But the Iron Master thought that he was Nils Olof, and he was say surprised at the way this Nils Olof looked now. But it occurred to him he might throw him honor. Therefore, he did not want to undeceive him all at once. So, deceive means to cheat. Uncheat means he didn't want to reveal the reality very fast because he thought that this Iron Master had considered him to be an old acquaintance, a person who is familiar to him and is of the past acquaintance. So he thought that say, if he would not reveal his real identity, then the Iron Master might throw a couple of kronor. He might give some money to him. God knows things have gone down. Now he say in a vague way he tried to agree with what the Iron Master was saying. That yes, somehow say things have gone bad with me. You should not have resigned from the regiment, said the Iron Master. The one who say the stranger got, or that was that the person Nils Olof Master in a regiment. That was a mistake. If only I had still been in the service at the time, it never would have happened. Well, now the course you will come home with me. Now, of course, you will come home with me. That is what the master said. First, he accepted that say, yeah, I would, if I had not left the regiment, then it would have been better to go along up to the manor house and be received by the owner like an old regiment comrade. That, however, did not please tramp. He was ready to go to the house, but no, I couldn't think of it, he said, looking quite alarmed. From here, we'll do tomorrow.